Hey, what is up everyone? Today I'm taking a look at the robot Damashii Kenbu. As usual, this video right here would not have been possible without those absolutely awesome people over at Hobbylink Japan. So if you're looking for some Kyokai Senki figures or model kits, that is exactly where you can get them. Link in the description, here we go! So once we get the box cracked open, there's absolutely everything that is inside. That of course is Kenbu itself, the rifle, the sword, the shield, the backpack for attaching on the accessories, what looks to be a base adapter, and we've got 3 alternate pairs of hands, and that is 4 in total with the pair that are attached. But before we take a look at the accessories, let's take a look at the AMAIM Kenbu itself. So anyway, there is the robot Damashii Kenbu doing that full 360 spin so you can check out every aspect of this figure. So at first glance, this is extremely nice looking. I will mention that some of the very typical Damashii Nations issues are here, which I'll mention in a second, but besides that, this does look phenomenal. The overall silhouette looks perfect, the angles are nice and sharp, most of the colors on here look so good, and we even have some nice detailing in those circular sections on the sides of the leg, the gold segments inside of the chest, and all of the segments we would have seen on the high-grade model kit are in gold on this, not in that yellow. Without a single doubt, this is a fantastic looking figure, so let's get in a little bit closer to take a look at the details. So moving in a little bit closer, and for the most part, this looks phenomenal. The paint applications are great, the sculpt is absolutely fantastic, and if you zoom in on some of the smaller detailing, like the details on the legs, the different areas of painted detail, and even that absolutely phenomenal looking head, this thing does look great. But of course, it does have those little issues that you see all of the time with figures from Damashii Nations, no matter how premium they are. That is, you will see some, what essentially is like nub marks, where this has been cut off whatever mold it was attached to. We also do have a few mold lines that have been painted over that you can see, but most of all of this is very minimal and will only really bother you if you're a real stickler on that sort of thing. But it doesn't matter how much of a stickler you are. That is awful! Oh man, they did not even try. That is gnarly. Oh, you could clean that up yourself, but ugh. They may not all be like this if you actually have the Kenbu. This particular figure, are those present on yours? I need to know, drop it in the comments. And I guess one of the questions you might have, and I definitely had, is how does it compare to the high-grade model kit? The first thing is, these are pretty much in and around the same size, so if you are collecting both, that does mean they will fit in with each other. For the most part, detail-wise, they're pretty much identical, especially just from a visual first look. There may be some sharper parts on the robot Damashii than there is on the high grade, but a lot of that you can modify yourself as it is a model kit. So the first difference is the model kit has clear eyes, whereas the robot Damashii has painted eyes. So that's not really something you can do with this particular figure. It's not like you can really swap out the eyes very simply. So if you like clear, go with the high grade. When it comes to the upper shoulders on the robot Damashii, they look way better than what we got with the high grade. These are painted, I will mention, but out of the box these were just in white, but the actual joints inside don't look nearly as nice as they do on the robot Damashii. But beyond the way that they look, how do they feel? Well, a lot of the joints which are just pegs in the high grade are actually ball joints on the robot Damashii, meaning you can get more natural and more unique poses out of this than you can from the high grade, which just has rotating joints. This has more, well, ball jointy kind of joints. So now jumping into the accessories, and here's absolutely everything that comes inside of the box, so let's check them out one by one. So as for hands, first off, we've got this widespread pair of hands we've had through the whole review so far, and these are incredibly nicely sculpted. Just check out that detail right there. For comparison, there's the high grade, and honestly, quite good as well, just not as deep when it comes to detail as the robot Damashii. The next pair of hands in here that aren't for using with weapons, these expressive style ones, well, those are fists. Again, very nicely detailed. And as for attaching them and reattaching, they pull off like this. it's a ball joint attachment. The ball joint is on the wrist. And I will mention attaching them first time can be a little bit difficult, so take your time with that. And they pop on just like so. So these are those kind of split ball joints. So there's a ball joint up top. These can also flex and extend just like so. So there is a lot of articulation right here. For example, there is the high grade, and its wrists are just standard ball joints. So taking a look at the weapons now, and the first of the weapons we have in here is that autocannon. So this is all in gray, very nicely detailed. We did already take a look at the bottom, and yeah, that is an absolutely unacceptable level of damage. So to attach this, we've got a trigger finger holding hand. Actually, we've got both, so it can be left or right-handed. It just squeezes on in, as simple as that. Actually, that was really easy. So that right there is what the autocannon looks like attached. Now, we'll mention that this kit has plenty of nice articulation to make sure you can get that into whatever pose that you want it in. Also, I will mention I did throw it into the left hand just out of pure randomness because that was the hand that I picked up first. So if Kenbu right here is trying to make a bit of a getaway, does not need that autocannon anymore, well then he should have been wearing his backpack right here. So we'll mention this is not compatible with the high grade. This actually attaches on in pieces, so I'm not sure if we'll be seeing some kind of an add-on later on that makes this somewhat different, or it's just a really cool way of attaching it. So it attaches on at multiple points, so into those two holes. It then clips on here onto the backpack and into that gold segment. A little something just like this. So the arms on these can pivot at this point right here, at that point right there, and finally right here. And then we should be able to clip this up on there, just like that. So let go, Kenbu, and that can swing back and tuck away, just like that. Pretty awesome. So the next weapon we have in here is the sword. So once again, this is all in gray, just like we would have seen with the high grade. The sculpt is actually quite nice, but we do have another rough cut here at the end. Man, they must be biting these things off the sprues over at Damashii Nations. So the next hand we have in here is a pair of these standard holding hands with no extended trigger finger. The hand attaches on in the usual way, and once it is, just pop that sword on in like so, and there you go. And that right there is what it looks like equipped, and this looks absolutely awesome. This is a real testament to this kit's articulation. This is one of the hardest poses to pull off with some action figures, because this sword is being held in both hands at the same time, and every joint has to allow you to get the arms into position. This I can never pull off, rarely ever with any kind of, definitely model kit, sometimes figures. But this is awesome, and Kenbu looks insanely cool. Just like with the autocannon, when this is not in use, we can just pop this on right here for storage, just like so. So the last accessory that we have in here is the shield with that spiked, knifey, killy end on the end. This is all in the one color, just like we would have seen with everything else. There's the rear side in case you want to see that. And attaching this on is as simple as just popping it into those two holes like that. It attaches on extremely nicely. But as this is fitted to the left arm only, that makes me wonder, will we be seeing something to attach onto that right arm hardpoint in the future? So we do have an action base adapter included in here, but I will mention there is no action base, so you're going to have to supply your own. So I recommend, sorry there Kenbu, I recommend this one right here. This is Good Smile Company's simple stand. You get a 3-pack of these for $10 to $15 or euro, and these are great. They're just as good as the bases I've always used that come with Figma figures. So it's pretty much the exact same stand arm, just with a wider, broader base, which is very, very handy. Highly recommended. To attach this action base adapter, we've got two different segments you can pull off on the back. The top one up here exposing a hole right in its back, and a lower one underneath here exposing one below, so you can use either or. The stand adapter does have this slanted aspect to it, so that means if you stick it in this way, then you can attach your stands in directly from behind. If you attach it in the way that I'm doing right now, then you can attach your stands in from below. So now moving on to the articulation, and from the head down, Kenbu is rocking one hell of a giggity goo right here, as well as a ball joint up top so you can get all the pivot you want on that head. To make matters even better, you can actually rotate the neck at the bottom there so you can giggity goo that way. With the head off there, I'll mention it is kind of hard to get this rotation right here when the head is attached, because the angle, you need to have it down to get any leverage on it, but otherwise awesome. At the shoulder, we have a shoulder armor flap. The arm can move forward and back like this. The piston inside of the chest moves. The arm can be raised up and down at this point right here. And this isn't just a peg. This is also a ball joint, so you get a roll inside of that. Next up, we do have full rotation right here at the upper arm. That also is a ball joint for even more natural movement. There is the arm raised all the way up using both joints. Full spin right here. This is not a ball joint. What can only be referred to the elbow is also a ball joint, so you get the rotation there. But you also get a nice little bit of pivot to eke out some very nice poses. The same goes with this one down here, so you can actually get a nice arc on the arm there. And this rotates just like so. As we saw, the wrist right here is a split ball joint. So yeah, we can get a whole lot out of that. Moving down to the waist, we've got a ton more. Once again, we've got a ball joint right here doing what a ball joint does well. We then have a crunch right here. If that wasn't enough, we've got rotation that goes all the way around right here. Then another crunch right here, giving you everything you could ever want. And then we've got another rotation down bottom. So that means I can crunch all over the place, all the time. I know I talk about premium butt flaps on here the whole time, but look at this for a premium butt flap. It has a fold out step so that the pilot can climb up and get into the cockpit. How premium of a butt flap is that? Tuck it away, just like that. Just like with the rest of this figure, this is a ball joint in here, so you can get a lot out of that. On top of that, the leg can spin all the way around inside of that. We've got rotation at the upper leg right here. The knee can bend just like so. It also is a ball joint, which makes it extremely nice, and I'm going to show you why in a minute. And then down at the foot, there it is all the way to the front, all the way to the back. We've got a bend at the toe right here and a ball joint in at the ankle here. So the ankle then, if you get it on the ground just like so, can move all the way back like that, all the way to the front like so, and your side to side pivot gives you everything you want. And the reason I say all these ball joints are incredible is for one thing and one thing only. You can actually pose Kenbu not in a AMAIM kind of way. You can actually pose him in a, well, humanoid robot kind of style without him looking too awkward. This does not look that awkward thanks to all of these ball joints. I tried the exact same thing with the high grade, and now that looks awkward because it just doesn't really extend to the same sort of level, and the curves just make it look like it works. That is some awesome articulation right there. So anyway, that right there is it for the review of the robot Damashii Kenbu from Kyokai Senki. So first off, I will mention that there are some of those typical Damashii Nations issues here. Those rough cuts on the bottom of the rifle by far being the worst. But as for Kenbu itself, there's a little bit here and there, but nothing that you'll notice from any kind of a distance. This is an absolutely fantastic figure. I love it. Compared to the high grade, you can get a lot more natural kind of poses out of it. It looks next to perfect right out of the box, and honestly, this is a great figure. For me, the highlight is definitely all the ball joints here and there, which give it a lot more flexibility, maneuverability, and natural posing ability than what we would have seen with the high grade. So if to you it is worth that extra price or you don't like building model kits, then maybe this is the Kenbu for you. So if you do want one of your own, as usual, link in the description. Thanks so much to Hobbylink Japan for providing it for the review, and of course, I will see you next time. Thank you so much to each and every one of you guys for watching these videos. Without you, this channel would not be possible. And my special thanks to those helping out over on the channel memberships and over on Patreon. So that includes Craig Jerry, Caleb Engelhardt, Sean T. Van Fawn, Global Frequency Studios, Lauren Seahack, Joseph Kuklunk, Mr. Winter, Forsetti, Joe, and Orgy 59061.